Marcus Chen had seen plenty of desperate beings during his 3 years manning the freight station on Kepler 442b, but nothing quite like the small figure huddled behind the plasma generators that cold morning. The creature was barely 4 feet, tall, with translucent blue skin that seemed to shimmer despite being covered in grime. Her large, multifaceted eyes held an intelligence that immediately set her apart from the usual scavengers that prowled the station's periphery. She was clearly starving. "Hey there," Marcus called softly, crouching down and pulling a nutrition bar from his jacket. The universal translator in his earpiece crackled as she spoke in rapid musical tones. "Please, I mean no harm. I am Zixandra of the Void Dancers. My pod crashed 3 solar cycles ago." Marcus tossed her the bar, watching as her thin fingers tore at the packaging with desperate efficiency. Void Dancers? Never heard of them. Her eyes flickered with what might have been shame. We were explorers, wanderers of the deep black. My people dance between stars, but She paused, taking another bite. I am the last. Over the following weeks, Marcus found himself looking forward to Zixandra's visits. She would appear at odd hours, sharing stories of her people's travels, through dimensions that humans couldn't even name, while Marcus taught her about human customs and fed her whatever spare rations he could manage. "Your species is strange," she observed one evening, watching Marcus repair a broken environmental suit that belonged to a dock worker who couldn't afford the parts. "You help others even when there is no benefit to yourself." Marcus shrugged, not looking up from his work. "Someone's got to. Besides, what goes around comes around, right?" Zixandra tilted her head, her translator struggling with the idiom. "This going around, it is a circle?" "Sort of. You do good things. Good. Things happen to you. Eventually." She was quiet for a long moment. "Among my people, we had a similar concept. The dance of echoes. Every movement creates ripples that return to the dancer." Her voice grew distant. "I owe you a great debt, Marcus Chen. One day, I will repay it." "You don't owe me anything," Marcus replied, finally meeting her gaze. "That's not why I helped." "That," she said solemnly, "is precisely why the debt exists." One morning, Marcus arrived at the station to find a small crystalline device where Zixandra usually waited. When he touched it, her voice filled his mind, not through the translator, but directly, warm and clear. "My friend, I must go. The void calls, and I have learned to dance again. But remember, every kindness creates echoes. Listen for them." Marcus never saw her again. Months passed, then years. He eventually left Kepler 442b for a position on a research vessel exploring the Andromeda approach vectors. Life moved on, and while he sometimes wondered about the strange alien girl, the memory faded into the comfortable blur of past experiences. Then came the day humanity encountered the hegemony. The Claxari Empire had ruled the outer spiral for millennia, their biomechanical fleets reducing entire civilizations to component atoms. When they discovered Earth's growing sphere of influence, the ultimatum was swift: complete subjugation, or total annihilation. Humanity's response was equally swift and typically stubborn. They would fight. The first battles were disasters. Human ships, advanced by their own standards, were torn apart by weapons that existed partially outside normal space-time. Entire colonies went dark. Earth itself prepared for siege. Marcus, now serving aboard the UES Defiance, watched the tactical displays with growing dread as the Claxari death fleet approached the Sol system. 3,000 ships, each one capable of cracking a moon. That's when the void around the enemy fleet began to dance. Ships appeared from nowhere, not through hyperspace or wormholes, but simply materializing as if they had always been there. They moved like liquid light, their hulls seeming to bend reality around them. The Claxari opened fire, but their weapons passed harmlessly through the newcomers as though they were firing at mirages. The dancing ships struck back. Where their weapons touched Claxari vessels, the enemy ships didn't explode. They simply ceased, unraveling into constituent particles that sparkled briefly before fading into quantum foam. Within minutes, the most feared armada in the galaxy had been reduced to glittering dust. The lead vessel of the mysterious fleet opened communications on all frequencies. The voice that emerged was achingly familiar, though infinitely more powerful than Marcus remembered. "People of Earth!" Zixandra's voice resonated across every human ship, every comm station, every emergency frequency. "I am Zixandra, first dancer of the void, speaker for the returned. Long ago, one of your kind showed me that strength comes, not from conquest, but from compassion. That wisdom has echoed through our people, changing us, healing us." On the main viewer, Marcus could see her ship, a graceful construct that seemed to exist in several dimensions simultaneously. Through the quantum entanglement communicator, her image appeared, no longer the desperate refugee he had known, but a being of evident power and grace. The human who fed a stranger asked for nothing in return. But kindness, we have learned, creates its own repayment. We, the void dancers, have returned from the deep black. We have grown strong in the spaces between spaces, and we remember our debts. Marcus felt tears streaming down his face as her final words reached him. Every kindness creates echoes, Marcus Chen, and sometimes those echoes become thunder. The Claxari never threatened humanity again. Other predator species in the galaxy found their fleets mysteriously vanishing when they turned toward human space. And sometimes, in the deep dark between stars, human explorers would catch glimpses of ships that danced through dimensions, guardians born from a simple act of feeding a hungry stranger. The debt, it seemed, would never truly be repaid, because it had grown into something far greater than obligation. It had become love, protection, and proof that in a vast, often cruel universe, kindness was the most powerful force of all.